Hey, top of the noon hour to everybody. How are you? I'm Rosalind Booker, principal broker, CEO of Our Brook Realty, and your host here today, along with these other hosts for Building Wealth Together, back to the basics. Sorry, we missed y'all last week. It's our fault. We didn't quite let you know in advance that we were going to do a buy. Chris, can you tell them why we were not there last week?
Well, as everybody knows, we had a lot of trepidation and problems with that winter storm last week, and a lot of people didn't have power, electricity, water, and things of that nature. So, and some of us had experienced a few things as well. So we were just cognizant of that, but we try to do something in the meantime, and they say in between time, that's when we put up a video. So, we could kind of have something on it for the audience to look at until we were able to come back this week. So we definitely apologize for not being there, but we're here today, excited. Gonna have some good tips for you, with everything that's going on. And in fact, some areas, we had a winter storm last week, and then some areas on Thursday, I believe it was Thursday, had a hailstorm. So it's been it's not even hail season yet. So it's been a pretty trying year from the insurance standpoint, from that standpoint. As they said, that storm that we had with the winter storm is probably the biggest financial loss that we're going to ever have in Texas history. So we're going to be talking about that today, and maybe some tips and some things that you might do to help you out from that standpoint as well.
There you go. Thank you so much. So I was just putting you on the spot, really, so you could explain.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Ready.
Yeah, you always ready. So yes, we are back. We are back here. We're excited about what God is doing here on the show, and we definitely sympathize and empathize and have been praying for those that have been impacted in the most worst way. So hopefully today, prayerfully today, we can shed some light on some things that you are able to do, and we have some facts and some resources. But again, we're going to go around the room and we're going to introduce ourselves again, and then we always open up in prayer, and then we're going to get right into the meat of the matter. If you're just joining, hey, what is this about? Well, we're in the real estate, insurance, mortgage, and the credit industry. We're just professionals after the heart of God. Not only do we want to bring you the facts and tools about, the how-tos, but we want to encourage your hearts. We always want to be relevant, and we want to make sure that, we're providing you with things that you need to get a leg up, get your bootstraps together, shine your boots, and, let's trail blaze together, full force ahead. So Melanie Michelle, girl, I love your signature hats. I love your hats. How many do you have, Melanie?
I honestly don't have many. I am one of those that collect, a nice fit and a nice look. It doesn't matter where, and just getting those few favorites. So I don't have that many, but
they sure look nice.
Yeah, you sure, like they say, you sure look cute.
Look, you know what? We're gonna talk about Snowvid today. No. I am Melanie Williamson, and I am representing multiple organizations. When we lock arms together, we are so much better together. So I represent credit education, credit restoration with White Jacobs and Associates. They're an attorney-based credit restoration firm in the Dallas area, but they work with loan offices for mortgage approval support services all across the United States. So I'm an advocate for credit education, and that's what I lead with. I am a community person. So this community we have on BWT is the bomb. Is it .diggity or .com? I don't know. I'm aging myself here.
All the above, yeah.
I am so glad to be back this week, and I'm looking forward to a great show. Rhonda?
Oh, and hi, yes, I am Rhonda Hutchison. Yes, I'm the Lone Lioness with Paramount Residential Mortgage Group. And listen, I roar with passion and power. I am a residential mortgage lender, and I specialize in first-time home buyers. Excited about helping my people, any people, but especially my people getting in their homes for the first time. So excited about being back with my folks on today, and can't wait to get started to share some of those facts, tips, and information that through the weathering the storm, the hailstorm, like Chris said, as well as the snowstorm that occurred last week. So Chris?
Yes, I'm Chris Ziller with the Ziegler Agency Allstate, located in Frisco, Texas. and have definitely been serving the whole state of Texas after that storm last week and this
I know
hailstorm as
you
well.
have.
But my motto is customer service with a personal touch, and my big thing is education and consultation. I've been doing a lot about that as well. So I'm excited to be on the show today to share some tips and to give people hopefully some advice from the standpoint, it's going to be pretty general because each insurance company does different things in different ways. So I'm definitely going to acquiesce and say, check with your provider to make sure what their rules and guidelines are from that standpoint. But looking forward to the show today. Very excited. And I'm going to kick it back over to Roz where she's going to do her thing and lead us in prayer.
Yes. So every head and heart lifted to heaven. Father, we just thank you for this wonderful day that you've made. God, we're always wanting to rejoice from a place of just being grateful. So God, we just say thank you. Thank you. We opened our eyes. So it's a day filled with hope. It's a day filled with the provision of Jesus. And we just ask that the provision of Jesus be poured out over every life, God, that is suffering, God. For those who are suffering in lack right now that may not have water, God, we just say, bring natural water. But God, we ask that they be washed in the word as well. God, we just ask that those that are needing food, God, that resources show up, God, put them on the heart of someone that has more than enough and that has abundance, God, that would give into their circumstance. And God, we just pray for those who are, God, just covered up in bills right now. There's been compounding issues, COVID, God, job loss, furlough, God, and now this. We know that you're ever present, God, and we just know that the power is in your hand, God. And we just ask that everyone's facilities be restored, God, that they have the proper information to take the right steps. Use us today, God. Let us be a resource for someone. And we just pray that this video reach far and reach wide, God, and that people first and foremost would feel your presence and know that you are as close to them as they are breathing right now, that you never will leave us or forsake us in any situation, God. So be God, be good today, despite, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. So Chris, you're in the insurance industry, and I know your phone has been ringing off the hook. So let's start with the conversation about the steps. If people are in an apartment, a rental home, in a house, what are the steps and are they different for each one of those entities? So what's the first steps and what have you been experiencing and seeing and what's your professional advice?
Well, my professional advice is you always hear me say, call your agent and talk to your agent first so you can kind of discuss some of the scenarios and situations that are out there because, you always hear me talk about deductibles and things of that magnitude. And, you hear me say on many occasions the deductible matters. And as I tell people, make sure you have the right coverages, make sure you have the right deductibles because, the first thing you want to do is call your agent. So discuss your deductible, see what that is. And then first of all, try to find out what the actual problem situation is and make sure it's going to be what they call a covered peril. Something's going to actually be covered by your policy because if you call in and if something's not covered by your policy, it's no need of, filing a claim from that standpoint because then you'll get what we call a zero pay claim, which still counts against you. But a lot of times it's been a little bit different because this has been considered a catastrophe. So when it is considered a catastrophe, you can, like with Allstate, if you call the claim in and it's weather related, it won't affect your renewal, which is a very important. So if I call in, they say, well, it's not covered. It's not what I'll say, that's not going to hurt you from a renewal standpoint because it is considered a catastrophe and a weather related claim. So that's important. So you want to make sure you talk to your insurance company to make sure what their rules and guidelines are from that standpoint. It could vary from company to company, but Allstate is very good about that from that standpoint. But call that in and just to make sure that the things are covered. So many different scenarios and cases. You might hear on the news where people are talking about ALE, which means additional living expense. And what that means is, what you said with renters. It's the same with renters and with homeowners. If, say, for instance, you're not able to live in your home because a pipe burst or something that's covered happens to your home where you're not able to live in the home, you have financial allocation that you can utilize to go to a hotel or get an apartment or something like that until your home or your your apartment is back in order to where you can move back in. So you
So
want to
right there, does your insurance company cut you a check immediately? Or is there a waiting period? Like if you got to go to a hotel or, even go live with someone else, if you had to, and they really can't afford to take you in. I mean, how quickly does the insurance companies respond to that?
Well, a good question. Like people always say, good question, Ross. But, but in that situation, sometimes it just depends. I guess everything, there's going to be the D word today, depends. How soon they get to you, because I've seen some people say they've already gotten financial allocation. It depends on when you called in that process, because there's been so many calls coming in that has been, very hectic and chaotic. So my advice to you is, if you can, hopefully you can find out if it's a covered loss. So if you do go to a hotel or something of that nature, and the company, the insurance company hasn't cut you a check, make sure you hold on to all your receipts. So make sure you hold on to your receipts. But the first thing is to call your insurance company first and foremost to make sure it's covered, because I had a customer call me on the back end. He said he had been in a hotel for 2 or 3 days. He said, I have coverage, and he didn't have coverage. He said, this is nothing you have to be cognizant of as well. He said, well, my power's not working, and my electricity's not working, and my water's not running. So I asked him, I hear what you're telling me in that regard. But I said, did a pipe burst? Did you have a leak? Is there something going on that where just because your power stuff not working, that's not an insurance issue.
Right.
I don't want to sound like sound mean and cruel, but that's not what the insurance is for. It's for losses from the standpoint of your property and things of that nature. Now, those problems caused you to move out because, like I said, once again, you have water. That's another thing. People say flooding. I always tell my husband, don't say flooding, because it doesn't cover flooding. It causes water damage. So even you got a lot of water on the floor. People, it's flooding my house. I always like to instruct people to say water damage too, because just to make sure that they kind of try to use the terminology that the adjuster be using, so it kind of knocks some of those hurdles out of the way. And a good adjuster should do that anyway, but just to be on the safe side, I always say, just say water damage. I don't care if you have 3 feet of water, just say I got water damage from that standpoint. But going back to what you said, Roz, yeah, they make sure they keep all the receipts and things like that. And first and foremost, make sure it's covered too before you do that. And you made another key point too, Roz. You said, well, if somebody had to go live with somebody else, they will compensate for that. So if you had a relative that had to come stay at your house and your living expenses went up because you can get additional food and doing additional things as well, then they can get money for that to help out with the person that they're living with also.
But again, what you want, just make sure they understand is only when you have an insurance claim due to water damage, not just
or cover loss. I mean,
cover loss, right?
Loss.
Right, not due because your utilities was not on.
Ron's really trying to say something, but she's muted. She's really trying to talk, but she's muted, Ron.
She really is. Look at her. She
tries so hard to keep my noise level down. But then when I'm ready to jump in, it's like, I done kill my own vibe. And
I was saying that because I know a lot of people are confused. They are thinking that since they lost the utilities and they did not have any damage, but they had to go to a hotel for to keep warm. They thought that would be covered, and just like you explained.
If it's not a cover loss, that's not covered.
Well, look though, I'm gonna be the advocate here, not the devil's. This was uncommon, Chris.
Oh yeah.
So, are you thinking that in the future, because ERCOT, a whole lot of people are under fire about this, and there's still unanswered questions about whose fault it is. Do you think policies will be rewritten because of what happened 2 weeks ago?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I'm gonna stay in my lane. I'm not sure about that one.
That's another D.
That's it depends. That's another D. That depends as well. So that's above my pay grade. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. From that standpoint, also. But then, like I said, once again, going back to what I was saying earlier, with this being happening, this should make people more vigilant and cognizant of when they doing their. I always preach coverages. And I tell people all the time. I said, I know money is important. I know we're trying to save money, but the thing is, don't try to save money at the expense when something happens. Because I told you before, I have people get higher deductibles. I preach against it. It depends on your situation, and if you're able to help it, it's case by case. That's what I tell people. Sometimes you get a high deductible and you're saving a few $100s on the front end, but then when something goes wrong like this, you have a high deductible. I'm just gonna make a number to say if somebody had a $500, use the $500,000 number, but a $500,000 house, now they had a deductible of 1%, it'd be $5,000, you know. But if you have a 2% deductible, it'd be $10,000. Then when something goes wrong, that's when people panic. Now I've had this happen too. People have been calling me up who had those high deductibles. And they're like, Chris, I want to change my deductible. That's not a problem. You can change the deductible from 2 to 1%. However, I tell them right then and there, but you might be changing it now, but you're going to be charged for the deductible for that instance when that problem happens. So that's what people need to be clear of. So I can change it, but you can change it anytime. But they changed their, somebody called me today, said, Chris, I want to change my 2% to 1% today. I can do it. It'll go in effect tomorrow. But they trying to file for a claim that happened last week, 2 days ago, or even yesterday. It doesn't count. You're going to be charged for that deductible for that period in time that you found that claim on. So that's important to know as well.
Yeah, then let's bounce around the room. Mel, what are some of the aids and things in your lane or your perspective from credit financial industry have you seen in terms of helping those that may have an immediate need?
Well, it's at this point, the whole deer in headlights mind, that's everybody's coming, trying to just process what's happened. The post of this situation, there's no real post of it. There's a lot of people still in it, still we've reset, and there's a lot of people who have reset. Their electric came back on. They've got now looking back at a higher bill, water or electric bill that they're trying to manage. But some people are actually still without power and without water and still depending on the communities. In relationship to just across the board basic, the big word is communication.
Yes.
You can't pay your bills. You can't. You're at a standstill. Your job now, if you can't, pay your bills on time, your electric was off, you're in a major bind. Now it's time to communicate. Let people know. Let your creditors know. Let everyone that's in your connection relationship to finance or credit, let them know what's going on, that you are what duress that you're under due to this snowvid situation. And it is, we had snow and we still had COVID to deal with. So all of that combined, like Roz said through her prayer, petitioning God to cover people regardless of where they are with their circumstances. So we're at all different levels, but the one thing for all of us is communication. So stay in communication when you cannot pay, work out a hardship, let them know your situation and keep your documentation, who you talked to, what time you called, what arrangement you worked out. Have people send you an email summary of what was worked out, and then call the next month. You just keep calling and stay in front of it. Don't let it get, you stay on the offensive versus being on the defensive, which is much more damaging. Because again, we don't know really the D word, the depends as to what supports are going to take place beyond, helping us out with the electric bills and the high water bills. And I don't have the information on that. Does anyone know of anything in relationship to that?
Yeah, we have a few. We got a few resources. And first and foremost, if you're just joining, and I see some people hopping on Facebook, if you ladies and gents would help monitor that. If you're just joining, thank you for coming back to Building Wealth Together, back to the basics. We are talking about, the Texas storm and those resources that we can compare and share today. We don't have all the answers, and we are grateful that you're here. So if you're on Facebook right now, first of all, share this video. Thank you. Share it on your platform because there is someone in need. And I know when you share it, they're going to come across it and it's going to have the right answer for them. So thank you for doing that. And please, if you have any resources, please put them in the comments section of how people can get any form of help. But for Texas, first and foremost, you want to dial 211. 211, they're there to help you, customer service reps, to direct you for food, clothing, housing, assistance. So they do have a plethora of information. The Red Cross has been a great resource. And again, there is a compiled list of these resources that I am actually sharing. So if you will inbox us, somehow get in contact with us at our one main number at 469-795-1708. That's 469-795-1708. We will get this information to you. The American Red Cross, if you need assistance with food, there is Feed the People Mutual Aid. That's Feed the People Mutual Aid. Even Beyonce has a grant where you could get $1,000. And that's BEY Good, BEY Good grant. Dallas Rent Relief. Write that down. Dallas Rent Relief. And there are Hunger Busters by Services of Hope. It's called Hunger Busters by Services of Hope. Now, I understand many of the counties in Texas have been declared a disaster, not all of them, but FEMA, F-E-M-A, FEMA has a link. If you can go to the disasterassistance.gov, that's disasterassistance.gov, you can apply and get on their list on the application for some assistance. And the resources that I've mentioned thus far, and we'll come back before the end of the show and we'll talk about some others. We want to thank Miss Fine Print, Jessica Jacob, Miss Fine Print for providing this information. It's fine time to go ahead and just interject with a little announcement. If you are in need of a virtual assistant, if you have communication needs, Miss Fine Print can assist you. She's a coach, she's a communication strategist. She offers a plethora of services, and we'd ask her, Arbrook Realty, to put this together for our clientele, and it was well received. And that's Miss Fine Print, and I will be putting her contact information in the comments section. Miss Rhonda, you have anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I do, but I want to put it back to Chris because you brought up FEMA, and I know there was in FEMA, if you have insurance, you have to. And Chris, can you speak about that FEMA? And if you have insurance, you have to file your claim with your insurance first. Can you kind of speak on that?
Yes, and I was going to piggyback off of that fact. Somebody was on the news talking about that this morning as well. So people with FEMA, you have to file for your insurance first, and you have to be denied. And even the guy today from FEMA was saying this morning, he says they're not like insurance. They're not there to restore you. They're there to help mitigate and try to soften the blow for you, but they're not there to be restoration like the insurance company is for. So he was key about that. But you do want to make sure you definitely check with your insurance company first. He even said that first, because if you call them, you didn't check with the insurance company, that's going to prolong your situation from that standpoint as well. So you want to talk to your insurance company first, try to file the claim. He said it's good for, he even said it's good for, he said your primary residence, whether it's renters or homeowners, your primary residence, he said that's what it's good for. And I thought that was huge. And kind of going back to what Melanie was talking about too, check with your insurance company as well, because like she said, because of Snowbit or Snowgate or whatever we want to call it this time, that check with your insurance company, because we're doing the same at Allstate. We're doing some of the same things we did for COVID, where they are, not getting rid of the payments, deferring the payments. You're still going to owe it. It's just that if you're in a tough spot right now, so because you're trying to get food and do other things right now, that you're still going to owe that debt, but it's just going to be put off. So be cognizant of that. So you want to make sure you keep that, be vigilant on that as well. And then two, one thing you asked about me too, Roz, earlier, we're talking about the pipe burst or something like that. So there's been so many companies who have been backed up with, whether it be plumbers, whether it's been the water restoration companies, these roofers, a lot of these guys are backed up. So one of the things I've been instructing my customers to do too, and from an insurance standpoint, you always want to mitigate the damage, meaning you want to reduce as much damage as possible. So if you had a pipe burst and you had water damage all over the place, you don't know, because like you just said, it might be 7 days, 10 days, whenever you call in, 12 days before somebody can come out. So you want to mitigate as much of that damage as you can. Now, you were fortunate enough to get like a water restoration company or somebody to come out. That's great. If you couldn't get them out, you need to do as much as you can on your own, because what insurance companies look at, what did you do to prevent further damage? So if you had water on the floor and this and that was wrong, and you didn't do anything, you weren't being a responsible homeowner or, or owner, or whoever you are from that standpoint.
it'd be a great idea, maybe on another occasion, to teach people how to be properly insured, because
Mhm.
sometimes we just don't know. If
Right.
you left because you didn't have power like many did, and you came back without notice, and you walked into 10 inches of water, 6 inches of water, how would someone know they needed to pail a lot of that water out or start getting buckets? How would we know that?
Well, you wouldn't have. See, in that case, you wouldn't. I'm talking about somebody who was sitting at that house, saw stuff that was going on, and they didn't do anything. Maybe you were out of town and you came back home to this disaster. That's a different story. But if you were actually physically there and you saw what was going on and you didn't do anything, then I'm not to say they won't cover it, but then that's going to still put up a red flag. Like, why didn't you try to mitigate? Why did you try to do something to minimize more damage? So that's what I've been telling my customers. Make sure you do as much as you can to minimize the damage.
So are you saying the difference in the answer and the response, whether you did as much as you could or didn't, would determine if your claim got approved or denied?
I'm not gonna say it will, it won't, but you want to make sure you do everything in your capabilities to make sure that doesn't even come up from that standpoint.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure that I always tell all my customers, make sure you do everything that you can. Once again, keep all your receipts and make sure you have documentation too of everything that you've done. And you got some of these people too. Be careful too, because some of these plumbers and some of these companies are gouging people right now too. Because
Yes.
in a tough situation. So I think that's, we're biblically and Christian based. That's not good from that standpoint, but it's tacky and bad even from a secular standpoint. So this is how to be careful who you're dealing with, and make sure whoever you're dealing with is a reputable company, because like with COVID or anything, anytime situations are like this, make sure that you get reputable people, because people come out of the woodworks when this kind of things happen. You have companies come from other states. Well, seriously, you've heard me say this before about hail damage and roofing and things of that nature. The four of us can go out, knock on doors, and we're roofers. And that's what some people do. Literally, people don't have any experience.
Oh, exactly.
Yep.
For a season, they are either a foundation company, a roofing company, and people are being taken
Exactly.
advantage of.
Right. One of the things that I think is important because of our networks and connections is as we work with people, and like Ross says, what's in your toolbox, what's in your arsenal, because that whole lock arms thing is real, because
Yes.
I can trust sending people to you guys. I can trust sending people to specific networks. So what's in our corner? Do we have that when we buy our home? What do we have in our arsenal, and what knowledge do we have? So to your point, Ross, training someone up, what does that look like, and when do we get that? Just like credit restoration, credit education, when did we get that? We did. Right. There was no history or historical facts that we gained in our upbringing that led us to where we are today. We had to learn it through hard knocks. So to avoid people having to learn home ownership through hard knocks, adding that resource, like when we send those referrals to Chris being able to give them those key points of what do you need to have in your arsenal to be that homeowner, to expect the unexpected, and that is financial, resources. Who's managing your financial portfolio? When you reach a specific level of income, what do you do? Taxes. Who's that tax person? You know what I'm saying? Those are things that are critical for all of us. So this is eye-opening for many of us.
I want to reiterate once again, call your agent and talk to your agent, because make sure you get all this covered, because I'm very, I got a checklist on everything I go through, because even some people don't realize if you have a swimming pool, it's a possibility that could be covered. A lot of people don't realize. I was like, one of my customers, I just happen to know because I keep copious notes of their account. I said, you didn't have any problem with your pool? Oh, I didn't know that was going to be covered. And see, if your agent didn't know about your property and things that nature, even ask that question. And I asked her that question, and she said, I didn't think that covered. I said, no, it's covered under your policy as well, depending on what happened. That can be covered. And it was covered, So you want to make sure you have, and some things too that might be covered that are normally not covered. Prime example, the burst pipe. Under normal circumstances, with most insurance companies, if you have a pipe that's burst, insurance companies don't pay for the pipe. They don't pay for the repairs. They don't pay for anything like that. They pay for the repair for the slab or the area that for the damage, if the floors were
That's
damaged.
good. That's
they
good
pay for that.
info.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they'll pay for that.
that's mhm.
In the normal circumstances, they don't pay for that. That's all insurance companies. But at least I know what Allstate, but check with your insurance company just to find out what Allstate, because this is weather related, the storm related. Now they will pay for that pipe, they'll pay for the plumbing, all the repairs, and the slab. But in normal circumstances, most insurance companies don't pay for that because it was weather related. In this particular case, they are doing it. So you want to make sure, a lot of people don't realize that either as well. So they want to check with the company about that also.
Those are good segues, not totally related, but this leads me from a real estate professional standpoint to remind everyone, if you are a homeowner and if you've allowed your home warranty, also known as a service agreement, to lapse, please, please, please pay that $500 a year. It is so worth it. It is so worth it. So your mechanical items like your dishwasher, your garbage disposal, your HVAC, which could cost $10,000, $15,000. You know, if it's not negligence that causes the issue, you contact their repair person or their customer service, and for a small deductible, you know, 60 to 80 bucks, you pay that. They come out, and if they cannot repair it first, then you're looking at a replaced item, and that's the best $500 a month. What is that? Penny. That's a cup of coffee. You know, a dollar menu item for you to keep your house properly insured from that perspective. Your homeowner's insurance covers, you know, things like Chris has said, but then your mechanical items, also known as your maintenance man, and that's one reason people don't buy, is they're so scared. What if something breaks down? Well, we got you covered pretty much. Not 100%, but we got you covered between your homeowner's insurance and your home warranty plan. So that's just another nugget for your toolbox.
Roz,
Gotta have
that wasn't a stretch what you just said. That was a perfect segue. I was actually going to touch on that too, because I was going to talk about that, because it's a possibility, like you said, it might be covered. Like if there's a power surge or something like that, like you had to, you know, if there's a lightning or the snow or something caused a shortage or something in your appliances. From that standpoint, it's a possibility it might be covered. But like you just said, though, it's a difference. If it's a mechanical type situation, it just ain't working, it's old, or it's a maintenance type situation, insurance not gonna pay for that. But like you said, because I had stories, not even stories, actually with the stories, but I had customers calling me, hey, I got water coming through my ceiling fans out of my water socket. I mean, out of my electrical sockets, you know. I had people who had ceilings collapse and things of that nature. So, you know, but if you had a refrigerator or say a laptop, they know how to make sure to determine if it was weather related to make that cause. There was, as a possibility, your refrigerator, your laptop, or your electrical stuff might be covered. But if it's just like you just said, I have people call me all the time, oh, my AC went out. We're not gonna cover that. That's what you have to, like you get a home warranty or something.
Yeah, and then the repair people get out there and they're like, well, it's 2 inches of dirt and lint on the we're not gonna cover that. That's negligent. It blew out. You blew it out.
Right.
Gotta change those filters regularly.
Mhm.
But yeah, back to you, Rhonda.
Yeah, and I think, just like Chris said, you know, when you come and you've been gone away because of you losing electricity, and you come utilities, and you come back and all your water pipes bust, your like you say, your ceiling has caved in, water is coming through your outlet. Fan. Yeah. And the damage is extensive. And when we're talking about extensive, it's going to take more than just you know, someone coming out repairing a pipe. There is an alternative to that in the lending, and that's what we call a FHA 203K loan. And what it is a renovation loan where you actually can have your home restored. Actually, the cost of the repairs, what you do is you have a licensed certified contractor to come out, give an estimate of what those damages are, or what it's going to take to get a repair. Then what you can do is you can do a 203K loan where you're actually, I want to say it's not a refinance, it's like a purchase, pretty much like a purchase, but what you're doing is you rolling those expenses to restore your home, rebuild into a new loan. And so that's called a FHA 203K. So that is an option for you to restore your home back to the original stance of what your home was before the storm.
So Rhonda, where does those funds come from? Through the lender, or is that a federal thing that?
Let's do the lender. It's, even though it's a government FHA loan, it is a loan through the lender. It is just insured by FHA.
That's good to know. I'm about to get that information from you too, Rhonda, because like you said, sometimes certain things happen with some of the customers, and that might be a covered loss. So that might be another tool that I'm gonna have to get from you to let them know, let them call you up to let them know about that, because I wasn't aware of that. Because it's gonna be some situations where, depending on the insurance company or just depending on what actually happened, it might not actually be covered by the policy, and they still gonna need somebody to come out and do some work. So that's good to know from that standpoint.
Right. And what you do is you just have your estimate. We'll estimate what your home is worth, and what we do is we roll. You get a, like you say, you get a estimate from a certified contractor saying what those damages are. You roll that into a loan. Pretty much work like a refinance, kind of like with what you, instead of getting money out like a cash refinance, you actually just rolling those costs into the loan and refinancing into a new loan.
Gotcha. So I think what would be important there is to make sure that I guess your home's value is low enough to compensate adding the repairs on top.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and maintaining your credit, because you worked hard to get your credit to get into the mortgage loan, and then maintaining it to be prepared for whatever, to get the best interest rates regardless of what it is.
Right. Like you say, those options. You need to give them those options.
Keep your options open for sure. Yeah.
And Ross, you kind of shined something in my brain earlier when you said 211, and then I want people to know this for future reference as well, because I was able to help a lot of my customers out too to mitigate some of those losses, because a lot of people did not know how to shut their water off.
Oh yeah,
water was coming
right.
in. A lot of people didn't know how to shut the water off. So I ain't gonna lie to you. I think I know where mine is, but with that being said, I didn't, but I had them to call the city and or even the fire, because the fire departments were coming out and shut it off for people.
Yes,
so a lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people were panicking. My phone was just ringing nonstop. So I just told them, I said, call the fire department, and the fire department had come out and, or the 211, that's what they're referring to. They had the fire department, or even the paramedics came out in some cases and just shut the people's water off to kind of help out, because it is a safety issue. Because like I said, you have water coming through your sockets and stuff like that. You try to mitigate, keep from having maybe some kind of electrical fire or something like that as well, on top of all that water coming in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have to be honest too. I don't know where mine is.
Oh,
that goes back to that toolbox, that, when we, enter that home ownership, what is that emergency toolbox, and, pointing those things out, that again, like Ross said, that could be a whole nother show.
Yeah, that could be lesson learned.
But through this, I think what people, and let's kind of walk through a checklist of a survival kit, so to speak. I mean, it should be pretty self-explanatory, but I think a lot of people were caught off guard. I guess, water is more essential than food, if we are not going to be able to eat for a while, right? So water, candles, flashlights. A lot of people were sitting in their cars trying to, charge their phone. You don't have any electricity. So a great investment would be a battery operated
generator,
generator, the heaters,
there you
propane heaters. They've got propane and the kerosene heating options. We were looking around for how to unthaw the hot water heater so that the water would. I put a heating blanket on it. I had electric. I put a heating blanket on my hot water. I put a heating blanket on my hot water heater, and the next morning my water was unfrozen.
Oh, good.
That's great, Mel. I also saw someone use a blow dryer.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah,
they used a blow dryer. But
blankets. We certainly want to make sure we have enough blankets and different in a care area. Again, one of my clients, I had a lot of my clients reaching out. How are you? Is everybody safe? How's your family? It's awful what's going on. And they were given those types of tips, because if they're coming from areas where they're used to winterizing, and do we have many coats? We've given a lot of coats away because we don't use them. They're in our closet. We just had Chris's coat drive, and it came at the perfect time to help people through some challenging weather out there. So we were just not prepared for this. Like I said, this was unexpected, which is anything in life. We have to prepare for the unexpected. We don't know what we don't know. So
well, and here's an issue. So a lot of people who were not maybe not homeowners, they were not in an apartment, but they were leasing a property from just a one owner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some people were having issues with even getting a response, from the homeowner. What do you do if you're in an inhabitable situation and you can't even get the owner to answer the phone? Where can people go? And I think that's where a lot of people are as well, is what's the next steps?
Right. Yeah.
Who do I call for that? So I hate to say it, but if you're not getting results from the owner sometimes, and I know I'm gonna get rocks thrown at me for this. Oh, don't kill. You just got to get the media involved. You get the media involved, and here's a story. Look, I knew a woman who had purchased a home, and they were not getting the favorable results from this particular owner. And at that time, Sabrina Smith was Channel 4's or Channel 8, one of the two. She was the woman who was going out, helping people who were not getting the attention they needed, picking up stories. And by the time this lady got the media involved, the right way, y'all, the right way, they were her attorney. When I say were her attorney, she couldn't have hired an attorney to get this fast, quick results. Man, that organization, that owner, they got some act right going on, and they fixed the issue.
Some act right.
They fixed the issue in the property. So communication, just like you said, Millie Mel, you've got to unmute your voice and don't be ashamed of what you're going through.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback on what you said, Roz, too, about, once again, you just said, but you have to do your due diligence as well. Renter's insurance. Some people I've had some people call me about this. Oh, well, my landlord, I can't live in this house. My house is got messed up. My stuff got messed up. Are they responsible for my stuff? I said, nope.
No.
I said, yeah, they're renter's insurance. They're responsible for making sure that the unit or the house that you're in gets restored back to where it is. If you have some personal items in that house, whether it be your clothes, your computers, your shoes, your personal stuff, and you didn't have renter's insurance, you're out of luck, And then, like you just said too, in fact, one of my customers, like, I want to take care of my my tenants. They don't have, I'm about to not put them out, but they're gonna be out of the house for a while because they don't have any, because we'll have to redo the house because it's gonna be about 2 months. They said, can we pay for it? I said, well, you pay for it, it's gonna be out of your pocket. But I said, the thing, if you want to be nice from that standpoint, but your insurance doesn't cover that. They should have had renter's insurance.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
But
they don't have
even with renter's insurance, though, and I had one person affected, it was some type of rider or something that still did not cover them, that it was going to be more defaming for them to file a claim, and it would stay on their record for like 10 years. So it really didn't benefit them. So I guess, is there different levels of renter's insurance as well you get that could cover you or may not?
Fine print.
I just don't like the policies that we have, for the renters, there's a cover for losses like that. I don't think a scenario would be something that would be problematic with the policy that we have, of course. Because usually when I was, like I said, you had a renter's policy with us, and like I said, the same scenario situation happened where you couldn't be in that house because, the owners, because it flooded, you can't be in there anymore, and you're renting.
Yeah.
But it depends on your deductible as well, too, again, but renter's insurance is not that big of a deal, And then you heard about food loss as well. So that's been a big thing. You've been hearing about people talking about food loss. Is that covered? It's covered on your deductible. If you meet your deductible, and there's different scenarios and situations we have to look at from that standpoint as well. But let me tell you this as well too. people, I say, let's try to be honest when we talk about, filing claims and stuff like that, because I've had people call me up. I hear they giving, you can get money back because for your food. Or did you lose anything? No, but I heard you don't have to do this, blah, 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 blah. Don't do that, because when people, my insurance rates go up, when people, I'm gonna go use an old school term, when people are trying to pimp the system, that's what happens. And some people, once again, are trying to take advantage of this situation.
Make it hard for the next person who really needs it.
Exactly.
Who really needs it, right. Yeah.
So, make sure if you file a claim, make sure it's a legitimate claim that you're filing. Is that, like some people say, they're trying to get, what they say, another term, trying to have a come up, what not really happened to them, but they trying to take advantage of the situation. So make sure the resources out there for the people who really need them. That's what's important as well.
Speaking of resources, there are a few more I wanted to just share that Ms. Fine Print offered. Concord Church in Dallas. You can get $50 worth of groceries, a gift card. You would text CARE 21, the word CARE 21 to 797979. Again, text CARE 21 to 797979. And that's the Concord Church. They are giving out a $50 grocery gift card. And also, if you go to the Services of Hope is giving out a $100 Walmart gift card for emergency expenses. Again, these are some immediate resources. And here's some important reminders. What do you say, Mel Meow?
I knew Roz would have a list of resources. I just knew it.
I'm gonna tell y'all something.
You own it.
Ain't no shame in my game since we believed.
Yeah.
And been professional. We have had some needs, y'all.
Yes, we
I
have.
don't know why people think that just because you look good on the outside and you were able to pay your mortgage last month, that life doesn't happen to us all.
Right.
It happens to us all. It rains on the just as well as the unjust. And we got, our little behinds in the line to say, hey, we need some help. That help was temporary. It was just a bridge. We didn't milk the system. We didn't, try to get stuff we didn't need. We needed the help. And if we found, a little something out of the way, sitting next to people who were really, really, they weren't making much, a couple thousand a month, $1,000, $1,500 a month. But when we filled out the app, we still had a need. Look, you come look at our refrigerator. So again, that was years past, and thank God we haven't had to need it again, but it was there when we need it. So I appreciate what you said. Don't abuse it. Use it when you need it.
Hey, Mel. We said that Roz is pulling a lot of information out of her hat. Instead of her hat, her scarf.
That's right. She is working them scarves. Them wraps, Roz is the queen. You talking about my hats. You the queen of wraps. I'm telling you, you got it down. You know how to do it.
I'm the king of baldness. I'm the king of baldness.
I tell you, and if that head get in it shiny, what kind of you use Afro sheen on it? What you use?
Buttered it up.
Hey, just put that Jergens on my head and just rub it up.
And I guess I'm the queen of naps, right?
No, you got them that line. Hey, I have a throw in there. It's a funny story since we on this funny side here. When our electric was rolling out on and off, the panic of everybody like, okay, what about the food in the refrigerator? I looked up where's the food from the refrigerator. My daughter had put the food in the garage because it was so cold.
Well, it's funny you said.
She worked it out, problem solving. She was like, look, this ain't going bad. I'm putting this in the refrigerator. I mean, from the garage. So yeah, I wanted to throw out there, there is IRS on the 22nd of February did announce that there was some tax relief for Texas residents in relationship to the severe weather. So I don't know if everybody's aware, but it did say that victims of the winter storms that began on February 11th until June now have until June 15th of 2021 to file their various individual or business tax returns and make their tax payments. And that's what the
Mhm. I
IRS
heard that too.
announced on
Yeah.
February 22nd. So there's definitely some benefits for individuals out there worrying, that's just one more thing on our plate, trying to figure out how to resolve matters. And here's tax time, So June 15th for Texas residents, and that's the 254 Texas counties qualify for that tax relief.
Gotcha.
So
How many?
254.
254.
That's all of the Texas counties
yeah.
across the state of
Exactly.
Texas. So at this rate, Texas has that benefit until the 15th of June. But, go to irs.gov and look for those details. And I've got a link that I found that article that I'll post on our website to give you those details.
Mel, it's funny that you said that about the food though. When I had customers call me about that, they're like, "What about my food?" I said, "There's no reason your food should be spoiled." I said, "It's colder outside in your garage than it is in that refrigerator." I was telling people to do that. So I said, not only that, you better make sure you have something to eat, so keep it from that standpoint as well. But I was actually educating my people to, hey, put it in a cooler, put it in a plastic bag. And of course, fortunately for us, we didn't have any problems about losing power. We did have family members staying with us though, because they were having problems, so they stayed with us for 3 or 4 days and stuff like that. It was kind of fun having some extra family to help when it was time for them to go. Like, see y'all. But no, we enjoyed it though. It was a good time.
I got a rent resource for you. Another one out my scarf here, my wrap. So we mentioned earlier the Texas Rent Relief. So you can call them locally at 214-638-2227. That's 214-638-2227. You can also visit texasrentrelief.com. That's texasrentrelief.com. All righty. And again, we want to thank this fine print for providing us with these resources today. What you got, Lioness?
I have a question, and I'm sure this is going to be directed to Mr. Chris. Now that we walked through Snowvit, should homeowners recommend their renters to have renter's insurance? Should they recommend it to their tenants? Should that be a conversation that they need to have right away?
Exactly. I mean, that should have been a conversation you should have had in the first place. But
Oh yes.
But the thing is, if you hadn't had a conversation, you definitely need to have the conversation for them, for their sake. Because the owner's going to be protected. It's going to be their tenant that needs to make sure that they have their stuff. And I got to tell people, once again, you keep hearing me harp on this over and over again. It's like with car insurance a lot of times. That old term, riding dirty. People thinking they saving money until something goes wrong, and then that's when they go and get into a panic or into a tizzy. But I ain't lying to you. Everybody's been there. I ain't lying to you. When I first got out of college, moved here, I did that. I'm riding around. I'm like, hey, I didn't have to loot, so I kind of just was doing that. But then what do y'all always say? When you know better, you do better. What y'all say?
You do better.
Yep. That's right. Got you some insurance.
Yeah. So you ride and pray.
I learned about. I'm gonna give you a funny story though. I learned about renter's insurance early in the game. I moved here. It'd be 31 years this year in August. In fact, a buddy of mine was the insurance agent at the time. I went in the insurance industry at that time. We're buddies to this day. And he said he's an Allstate agent as well. But I remember he had just started. He said, do you have renter's insurance? I said, man, no, I'm good. I said, my partner take care of that. He didn't push me or press me or nothing. He said, okay. So you might want to check on that. And that day, after I got off work, I went there. I said, hey, if something were to happen in my apartment, y'all cover my stuff, right? They said, nope. Very next day. Renter's insurance is cheap. Renter's insurance is cheap. It might be, on average, it's anywhere from $11 to probably $21 or $22.
That's at less than 30.
Yeah.
I know most apartments, if I'm not mistaken, they require it?
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Don't they require you to have that?
Well, I ain't gonna say it's required now. It's always, a lot of times it's been required, but what they're doing now, if you get renter's insurance, they want to be added on there as an additional interested party, because this is what used to happen. People were supposed to have renter's insurance. They come, hey, Mr. Apartment Complex, I got my renter's insurance. Okay, cool. The bingo, they would do it. But now these apartment complexes got hip to the game and they say, okay, we need to be added on there as an additional interested party. So if you play that game of canceling your insurance, they're like, okay, you cancel it. But usually what they got is going to be more than what you had. So it behooves you to keep it.
Gotcha.
Yes. Hey, we just want to acknowledge those who have joined us today online. I'm not sure if they're still there, but we had Trellis. Hey, Trellis, Miss Roz Ziegler, that's our mama of the group. We
Hey,
got
Mom.
Sierra, we got Darren, we got, who else we got on here? Got Tony. Hey Tony, Faithful, and Sierra wants us to, guys, do a session, a teaching session on the tools that we need in our different toolboxes, like credit, insurance, home ownership, mortgage, you know, what we need in our toolbox. And Sierra also said not all apartments require renter's insurance. Most of them recommend it. And Miss Trellis wanted to know what was the best way that she could find a home warranty company. So we sent her some information. She's in Texas. Yeah, so y'all just engage. And Miss Ross says, this is such helpful information. What a blessing your program is to the public. Thank you, Miss Roz. We love you. And yeah, so if this is great info, please, y'all share this video. Talk us up because we'll be here. We got some great shows
We
that are
got some good stuff.
good stuff. We're going to be transitioning platforms and how we do things. We're still going to be here though, but we're on the move, y'all. We
Right,
just
we're
say,
leveling up. We just keep
yeah,
growing.
Hey, Rod.
we just keep growing. Yes.
Oh, the home warranty too. Once again, with the home warranty, make sure you
Yeah.
do your research on your home warranty company as well. Make sure it's a reputable company. Because I've had situations where some of these home warranty companies, there's a lot of good ones out there, but you got some shady ones out there too. And they try to do everything they can within their power to keep from paying for what they need to be paying for. So make sure make sure you do your due diligence and research that company you're doing and see what their track record is.
Definitely, definitely. So we're going to do our round robin. It's been so lovely being here. We hope that there was something that we've shared that has been valuable, that if you can't use it, pay it forward. Just share this video and this information. And again, inbox us, call us at 469-795-1708 if you want a total list of the resources that we talked about today. But I'm Roz B. As Roz B. I'm your principal broker, CEO of Arbrook Realty. We are a full service real estate company, and there's nobody's dream left behind working with us. We're going to see you through it to the end until you get your keys, honey. So give us a call at 972-679-9311. That's 972-679-9311. Come on, baby doll, Barbie doll.
I just love you, Roz. I tell you, I love my team. BWT. All right. Look, we need to give ourselves a, hey, we are the resources that Roz provided. That's an invaluable list. And we certainly appreciate with fine print services for producing that list. And for me, credit education, credit restoration, regardless of what it is, it's time to, in your lull time, look at your credit report, see where you are, and get the tools and tips and research. MyFICO.com is a great resource to go to, and you just click on that education button. It's got tons of information for you. So Melanie Williamson, you can reach me at 469-403-8394. Get your free credit analysis. Just shoot me a text or call, and I'll be happy to help, direct you to somebody who can help if I can. Linus.
Roar. Yes, I am Rhonda Hutchison. I'm the lone lioness with Paramount Residential Mortgage Group. I guess y'all got me tickled. I can't even talk. I am a residential mortgage lender. Give me a call. Let's talk about if you're interested or you're wanting just some more information in the 203K, which is a home renovation loan. Give me a call. Let's see if it's something that that is best for you and your family. See what you need to qualify for that, and I'll be more than happy to walk you through that. My number is 214-856-3747. That's 214-856-3747. Mr. Chris.
Hey guys, I'm Chris Ziegler with the Ziegler Agency Allstate, located in Frisco, Texas. And once again, I service the whole state of Texas. And I can be reached at 214-870-4269. And you always hear me say education and consultation. So definitely give me a call, because there's a lot of things that we try to get to today that might be related to insurance that we weren't able to get to. So give me a call for, once again, education and consultation with that. Once again, I can be reached at 214-870-4269. I'm just happy to be on here. We were able to talk about this. And Miss Sierra, we're definitely going to do what you said. And we've been talking about that, having that toolbox. And I'm just glad about, like I said, the upcoming platforms that we have as well, too. So excited about that, guys, and just excited to be on here. And I will see you guys next week.
All right.
Y'all have a blessed day. Stay warm. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.